If you've ever noticed the sound of puzzle pieces clicking together, or felt the difference between a light cardboard piece and a solid wooden one, then this is the podcast for you. Hey, I'm Lucy, and welcome to Dissectologists. Today I'm talking with Chris from Liberty Puzzles, a company known for its intricate wooden puzzles, whimsical cuts, and deep commitment to craftsmanship. And I'm really excited to explore what goes on in the puzzle making arena. So Chris, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Lucy. Pleasure to be here.
So before Liberty, puzzle making as maybe a business or a craft, what was your relationship to puzzles?
Well, my mother's side of the family was from Cleveland, Ohio, and my great aunts had inherited some old wooden jigsaw puzzles that were antiques that were hand cut in the 1930s. The 1930s and the Great Depression saw a worldwide jigsaw puzzle craze. And this was basically before cardboard puzzles were invented. So anyway, my mom's family inherited a bunch of these antiques that were called Falls puzzles. So-called, they were made in Chagrin Falls, which is right outside of Cleveland. And their tagline was "Fall for a Puzzle."
Cute.
And their signature piece was a whimsy piece of a woman in a Victorian dress slipping and falling down. Fall for a puzzle. And that was in the lower right corner of each of the Falls puzzles. My mom didn't show them to us until we were in our teens because they're too fragile and valuable. But then in our early 20s, we would bring one each family vacation. Fast forward to 2003, I guess. We're in Puerto Vallarta. It was pouring rain. We couldn't go to the beach. And we sat around doing the antique puzzle. And it just hit me that, this is not just a puzzle. It's a social experience, and it's a social vehicle. And that was when the light bulb sort of went off. And I said in passing, I bet if I could make and sell these for $100, that would be a good business.
I love how you call it a social vehicle. I've been reconnecting with my siblings a lot. Every time they come over, they know there's going to be a jigsaw puzzle on my kitchen table. And it's kind of now starting to be a tradition with us as well in our family. That's super cool. Was there something, Chris, that drew you specifically to wooden puzzles as opposed to cardboard?
I think that we were familiar with cardboard puzzles growing up. And the thing about the wooden puzzles is that the shapes are so unique. They were doing it when they didn't have die cuts. And so that was the special thing about the wooden puzzles that were hand cut. And also the heft of the pieces is something. When you plunk a wooden piece into place, it's really satisfying. They feel sort of more luxurious.
There is, though. There's something about that wooden puzzle drop that it's pretty addicting.
Yeah, totally.
So, Chris, can you walk us through the process of designing a puzzle, maybe like from image selection to final cut?
Yeah, I think in the very beginning, it was anything that we could find that looked colorful, that was public domain, that was free to use. And then we started pretty early on working with some local artists here in Colorado. And we got our first sort of taste of licensing. And so we love all of our artist relationships, and they are critical for us. What gets trickier is where there's an artist that's deceased who is still under copyright. That kind of era is harder to get because you're dealing with an estate. The Dr. Seuss agreement took a full year of negotiation through various levels of approval that they require. So that's the first part is getting the rights to an image. Once we know the size and we have the color right, then we're ready to make a puzzle. The next step would be the cut pattern. Then we can design what all those whimsy pieces are going to be. And in the very early days, the first year and a half or so, that was me drawing that at night after, 12, 14-hour days trying to get the thing off the ground. And then I would draw puzzles until like 1 a.m. Very quickly realized that I needed professional artists. And so we hired a kid right out of art school here in Denver. And so he does all of our designing. So now you've got an image, you got your color, and you got a cut pattern. And then the next thing you do is you make a print, glue it to a panel, and then it's time to cut.
The whimsy pieces are such a signature of the wooden puzzles at Liberty. How do you determine a shape.
So let's back up a second. And if we go back to the false puzzles that inspired us, false puzzles are one of 3 brands or so that are most sought after by collectors. And the reason is that they had the most whimsy pieces. And so that ended up being our hallmark early on as well. Our designer, Lennon, he started theming the pieces to the image. So if there was an underwater image, he would have ocean creatures and the like. Usually, almost all the whimsy pieces are somehow themed to the image of the puzzle. So it's the art within the art.
Do you think wooden puzzles naturally invite a different pace than cardboard puzzles for puzzlers?
I think not. There are similar approaches that puzzlers take, no matter whether it's wood or cardboard, and that is like looking for color blocks. I mean, there's ways of looking at it. A lot of people say your wooden puzzles are way harder than cardboard puzzles. And I'm not sure that's true, because the thing about a whimsy piece is there's an inverse part of that fits into the whimsy piece, which makes it easier to find. And so the answer is I'm not entirely sure. What we do know is that the wooden puzzles are really a different genre and different kind of experience just with all the whimsy pieces. I'll give you another example. Something that we can do that a cardboard puzzle can't necessarily do, and that is make the edge so that you can't do the edge first.
Yes.
Our designer does these diabolical V-shaped pieces where the tip of the V is part of the edge, and you can't tell it's an edge piece, but it connects 2 obvious edge pieces. I mean, those are the most basic kind of tricks there are.
I like that you called it diabolical.
Yeah, he's got tricks up his sleeve. I mean, I'll give you another example. In the old Falls puzzles, the cutter there had a trick where she would put like 30 or 40 little teeny candlesticks that are all sort of look the same, but that they don't fit the same. And then so you come across and you're like, I need a candlestick. And like, oh no, I have 30 candlesticks. So Lennon, our designer, Lennon, does similar type of things. We just did a Peanuts puzzle, and he has like 30 slightly different Woodstock whimsy pieces. And so kind of carrying on in those kind of traditions, I think it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I really love that. It kind of makes it a game within the game of jigsaw puzzling itself. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We kind of mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to readdress it. The weight, the sound, the texture of a piece. How intentional is that? Like, do you guys test for plunkability, or like what? Do you weigh a piece? Like, how do you know?
First of all, in 2005, we spent most of the year in manufacturing testing, trying to figure out how to make these things. And so we tested all different kinds of adhesive and print technology and plywood. And we tested probably close to 100 kinds of plywood.
Wow.
And we settled on the one that we use because it works the best with our laser cutters. So we just use the one kind all the time, every time. So the plunkability is the same. Now, another sort of facet to that is the size of the pieces. Our designer, as he's hand drawing these things, he is searching for a standard piece size. So he doesn't want the pieces to be too big. They can't be too small or fragile. So he's looking for that kind of Goldilocks size right in the middle. And then we have a children's line that has pieces that are twice as big for kids. And then we have an older adult Silver Series line that also have pieces that are twice as big.
I love that. It's very thoughtful, very mindful. Why do you think some puzzlers become wood-only puzzlers? There's definitely a following here. I mean, there's events for this. The Puzzle Parlay is a good example of this.
Yeah. We hear it all the time from our customers. Your puzzles have ruined cardboard puzzles for us. We'll never do cardboard puzzles again. And I'm not going to say anything bad about cardboard puzzle industry. It's almost a completely different kind of business, the way we look at that. To us, we're just a different kind of animal. In the early days, we exhibited at the Toy Fair in New York City. is fabulous. Like 12 football fields of toys and gizmos flying around. It's really giant Pokemon walking around and superheroes. It's really fun. But after doing that for a couple of years, we realized, hey, wait a minute, we're not a toy. So we started going to the gift show instead. And gift is the right word. We do a huge amount of our business every year in the fourth quarter because, at holiday time, when people are already gathering together from far away and you need that group activity, as you were saying, what's more perfect than fancy wooden jigsaw puzzle?
It does feel like it is in its own realm to me too. I like both. If I could afford more wooden puzzles, I'd buy way more, but it's always kind of that, oh, okay, I'm going to wait. And now I'm going to buy a wooden puzzle and not buy like 5 cardboard ones. I just need to have another wooden puzzle.
It's true. They do get expensive, especially if you become good at them and you can do them in 2 days. And then what do? That's $50 a day habit right there.
Oof. How has puzzle making changed over the years? Maybe technically, but also culturally?
I mean, for us, we still do things the way we did 21 years ago when we started. Now, there's a second part to your question that is sort of, if you think about it in terms of the images, we have probably, 15 different categories that we generalize in. We have classical paintings that people like because they're famous, but they tend not to be as colorful as more contemporary artists. But people like doing Starry Night Van Gogh because one of the most iconic paintings in the world. One thing we have stayed away from are sort of what you think of from the 70s, like when you're a kid, or 80s, with just like, where something where it's repeating and all the same.
Yes.
That's not us at all. We have to present something that's a little more complex than that.
So what do you hope someone feels when they place the very last piece of a Liberty puzzle?
Got to go buy another one. No. You know what? Here's something that is tangential to that. Our box top stickers that show the image tend to be pretty small. They're designed to be representative so you know what you're buying, but they're not meant to be used as a guide.
Oh.
And we often get requests from customers saying, I need a bigger guide image. But what you should really do is go the other direction. And that is dump the pieces out and hide the box top and not look at the image at all.
Ooh.
And that is where you will get a far greater sense of satisfaction when you put that last piece in.
Okay.
And you're like, oh, I just did all of that without any guide image at all. That really does come from the 1930s puzzles when they didn't have the technology to reproduce an image. And this is during the Great Depression, remember? And so they would take like a bank calendar and they just glue it to a panel, chop it up.
Wow.
But what do you do from there? You don't have an image that's a guide. You don't even know what you're buying. And so they would just have an end label with a title on it and either the number of pieces or estimated number of pieces. Back in the day, no one had a guide image at all. And so I think that's the best answer to your question about like when you put that last piece in and you haven't used a guide image. I highly recommend that to anyone listening to this podcast.
Excellent answer. Oof. Okay, I'm going to have to try that. All right, Chris. So I end every interview with the same 3 questions.
Okay.
There's no right answers to these, but I think some people feel strongly about them. What is your favorite puzzle size by piece count?
Oh, that is a good question. Something more than 450 all the way up. I think it's kind of a bigger challenge. Now, about 80% of what we sell is around the 500 piece range.
Really?
That is the most popular size, and it tends to be because a small group of adults can do that size in 1 or 2 evenings.
All right. I'm curious about your answer to this because you're a puzzle maker. So you're finishing a puzzle and you realize one piece is missing. What do you do?
Panic? No. Immediately accuse your sibling of holding it back, which they probably are. This is a common family trick. Oh, I got the last one. That's dirty pool. Check the floor. In our case, check the box tissue. I think hypothetically possible for a puzzle to leave the puzzle factory missing a piece, but almost never. It's almost always something inadvertent on the customer end. Have you heard of our wall of shame here?
No.
So we do make replacement pieces.
Okay.
And we send out about 100 a week.
Wow.
And one of the things that happens to puzzles is that one will fall on the floor and a dog will get it. And so in the case of a dog chewed piece, we can send you a new piece. But in that case, the payment we require is a photo of the dog to put on our wall of shame. So we have about 300 or 400 dogs and cats, all the photos that people have sent in. So that's part of our factory tour. That's the last stop on our factory tour that makes everyone laugh.
That's excellent. And also, I guess pets also love the feel of a jigsaw puzzle piece.
I think dogs get jealous of the human group sitting around a table and not paying attention to them. And then there's the cats that I think just inadvertently knock stuff off. But I mean, we've had people find them in their dishwasher filters, old jacket pocket that was sitting on the back of a chair and the piece fell in the pocket.
You should almost get a prize for that.
Exactly. But if you don't know it's there and you get to the end of the puzzle and you don't have that piece, then you're frustrated.
Absolutely.
I mean, it costs us a little bit of money to make replacement pieces, but it creates an enormous amount of customer goodwill. And it's a no-brainer for us. Got to make people whole.
I love that. Okay, final question. You open a new puzzle and some pieces are stuck together. Now, I think this is interesting because wooden puzzles are so different in this arena. I don't know that this happens in a wooden puzzle cut, but you'll be the one to know.
No, I think you're right. In our case, we have people who hand disassemble all the puzzles and then sweep them in the box. And this is an important quality control step for us. So that should not happen with us, is having pieces stuck together. And if you do find that, I guess maybe consider it lucky. It's not supposed to be that way. So that's a technician on our end making a mistake.
That's a great way to sell it. Consider yourself lucky. Now, when you're puzzling, if you do run across that, are you the kind of person who would pull the pieces apart and like mix them in? So you're like, or do you just leave them and you're like bonus?
Probably just leave them.
I was like, next time you run across this, you are going to think about this.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I haven't done cardboard puzzles in a long time.
I bet. You're spoiled for sure.
Totally.
So, Chris, thank you so much for spending time with me today.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed talking about wooden puzzles, and I feel like, we've learned a lot today from you. So thank you for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you. I'd love to come back sometime.
Thank you.
Good luck.
And to everyone listening, however you puzzle, however you solve your puzzles, just remember you're doing it the right way.